Welcome to the Expert Exchange, the podcast where knowledge meets success. With your host, Joshua Carnes, and expert guests, Andy O'Brien and Dr. Michael Hartley. Today's show is brought to you by Lion Business Advisors.
The content in this show is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. The Expert Exchange is not a fiduciary by virtue of any person's use of or access to this content. The Expert Exchange is not licensed to practice law or provide legal advice. Nothing contained within this show is intended to be an offer to either buy or sell securities.
Welcome to the Expert Exchange, the podcast where knowledge meets success. I'm your host, Josh Carnes, and on today's show, we are going to be learning about the owner's matrix and scaling your profitability with our expert guests, Andy O'Brien and Dr. Michael Hartley, with ActionCOACH of Central Texas. You can find out more from Andy and Dr. Hartley online at ActionCOACHCentralTX.com. That's ActionCOACHCentralTX.com. So get ready to expand your horizons and refine your strategies as we dive into the owner's matrix with our expert guests.
At Lion Business Advisors, selling a business is not just a transaction. You've poured your heart and soul into your business. It's not just a paycheck, it's your legacy. The team at Lion Business Advisors is here to guide you through the process, ensuring your successful exit. Contact the team at Lion Business Advisors at 800-525-3542. That's 800-525-3542, or visit us at lionbusinessadvisors.com. Lion Business Advisors. Let the story of your next chapter begin with us.
Partner, Master Coach, and CCO of ActionCOACH. Andy comes to us with over 25 years of exceptional leadership and personal development experience to both executive coaches and our executives and business owners. He's inspirational keynote speaker and a results-oriented business coach and a trainer for coaches around the world. And then also with us today is Dr. Hartley. Dr. Hartley is also a senior partner and master coach and the CEO of ActionCOACH. Dr. Hartley is known as the business magician for his innovative and game-changing solutions with a doctorate in business strategy and innovation, along with being one of the top certified executive business coaches in the world. They say when you're looking to win in the game of business, Dr. Hartley is super and the man to listen to. So, gentlemen, welcome to the Expert Exchange. Thank you guys for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Perfect. So, before we dive into the owner's matrix and what that's all about or today's topic, why don't you guys just, I know I read a brief introduction, and so we're clear for everyone at home. Go check out the website. I condensed that just a smidgen. You guys have paragraphs with your accolades. So why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us about yourselves.
Go ahead.
Well, thanks for having us, Josh. I'm Dr. Michael Hartley. I have owned businesses for about 16 years now. Opened my very first business in 2007. Failed absolutely miserably. I allowed it to take my life away from me. I was homeless for about 6 months, lived out of the backseat of a white Dodge Charger in South Texas, realized that that's not what I thought business ownership was going to be like, and realized I knew nothing about business. It was, ironically enough, a video production company. I knew a lot of things about recording video and lighting and audio, and knew nothing about actual business. So I started reaching out to mentors to guide me. And from there, built a couple successful businesses, turned the video production company into a 7-figure business. Later on, built a business with 4 other business partners to about $200 million in top-line revenue, exited that, and started focusing on coaching and the coaching business after that, because I became successful, in my opinion, because of mentors I had, and now we kind of get to do that for others. And so that's been the last 16 years in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having us. I'm excited. I know we've had some other great experiences together, but Andy O'Brien, I've been doing this for about 30 years now. This is our third business, and our third business together. What it's interesting is, I started out in the family business. We were joking about the book that's coming out, but started out there. Worked with mostly family businesses, did a stint in corporate America where I tell everybody they stole my soul, which some of you guys can relate to, where everything's a number. When I got out of that business, because that business went into receivership, that business went under, I had the opportunity to kind of look back, and I looked at the Action Coach model. I looked at what it had to offer. And one catalyst for me was in 2008, my dad and my aunt had to file bankruptcy to get out from underneath their business. And that was kind of the catalyst to who's a trusted advisor, who can help these business owners, who's around. Because if you guys recall, in 2008 through 11, it was a really terrible time for any business. And so that's kind of my driving force is family businesses, executive businesses that can't get out of their own way. And we'll dive into that a little bit more. But we love what we do.
So yeah, before we dive into the owner's matrix and stuff, let's dive into Action Coach. It's a system, it's a process. So I heard recently that Action Coach was ranked number 3 in the world, number 1 in North America as a coaching firm. So how did Action Coach reach that level of success? How do you guys play into that? Tell me a little bit about that, just general accolade in itself.
So what we focus on is we're a business education firm that coaches businesses. So we focus first on educating business owners because even at the doctoral level, like no one teaches you how to build a business successfully. So we're like, let's actually like help business owners learn how to do this. So we focus on business education. And then for those that are ready, they jump into coaching programs with us. Roughly speaking, about only 4% nationwide, about 10% in Texas, businesses make it to $1 million in annualized revenue. And so we focus on how to get businesses from under that into that, right? Because, to be able to eventually have a business that you can sell and stuff, there's certain just numbers you got to be able to hit for someone to be interested, as you are well aware. So we really focus in on getting business owners and entrepreneurs the education they need. And that's helped us excel and grow the way that we have, because when you focus on educating business owners and then coaching them, they have far more success, which means that they then stay with us longer and they become, more successful in all those kind of things. And so we focus a lot on leverage programs where it's a bunch of business owners all together learning and being coached as one, and you get the group dynamics and
nice
learnings and stuff like that happen.
And they get the competitiveness, for the groups and the one-to-ones and all the education that we do. We know that an educated client is an easy client to coach because they want it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Him and I have a really bad habit of we want everything for all of our owners. Well, I joke like I'm a full-blown capitalist. I want them to make as much money as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And that allows them to see that growth. And that has really catapulted our business over the last year to the forefront. Action Coach globally has 1,200 offices in 85 countries. And we are fortunate enough to know we've played to each other's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And it has allowed us to align with really great business people, really great mentors, and it's allowed our business to grow exponentially. And it's not just, I could sit here and say it's us, but our team would beg to differ. It takes all of us. It takes all of us. And it has it catapulted us to number 3 in the world, of those 1,200 businesses and 1 in North America. And we're having a blast now.
Yeah, we're having fun.
So you guys hit on the us factor, right? There are 2 of you guys. So, how did you guys both get into, how'd you guys find each other? Why is there an us versus independently, right?
That is a great question. People have asked us that. So there's more than just us. There's actually 4 of us, but, I've been in the coaching. It'll be 14 years this year. I was in North Iowa. That's where I started at. I had been in the business, and this young buck was coming up. I call him DMH, abbreviating, but Dr. Hartley. And we'd never met in person. We'd passing, had not seen each other, had not met. And when I moved to Texas 5 years, almost 6 years ago, I needed some guidance, and I just reached out to him. And I'm like, hey, let's meet. First time we met in a coffee shop. He was doing his own thing. I was doing my own thing. He had success. I had success. Well, then from 2019 on, we started doing, we have the same belief system. Let's start with that. We follow the system. Okay. We are really smart together. We're really good alone, but we're much better together as a team. And it's helped us we started doing workshops together. our catalyst, 90-day planning, annual planning. And we started doing all of these things together. Well, then as we grew, COVID hit, both of our businesses just went busy because of all the need in the marketplace. And after we came out of that, we were still doing a lot together. DMH and my Tanner, one of our other business partners, were the catalyst to the forefront of a membership program that we do every month now. And I was a little hard-headed. I'm not going to lie. It took me a little bit to buy in, but they were the catalyst to drive this. And we started seeing all of the synergy, and we merged. It was a year ago, November 1st. But we had been working together for 18 months, 2 years, separate businesses, spending equal amounts of money to do marketing and employees and everything. We looked at each other and went, what would this look like if we did it together? Yeah. And so that's how we ended up with an us.
Nice.
And it was the best decision I think we could have ever made.
I agree. There's so, you're in the business world.
Mm-hmm.
We believe wholeheartedly abundance. We are a full-blown abundance for each, abundance for other coaches, abundance for other action coach firms, executive coaches, doesn't matter what system you're in.
Mm-hmm.
We know the more, right? The more people are educated, the more their help, the better they'll be able to sell their business. They'll be able to support their family, but they'll be able to take a vacation. We believe in that. And that's something that you don't, as you know, in the business world, competitors don't always look at it like that.
Yeah. It's great. So, from the outside in, we've been able to watch you guys. It's great to see you guys actually function as a team and complete and do all that stuff, even for our own clients that we've sent over. So it's definitely great. One of the things that I think it's important that we kind of highlight here is, what is a coach, right? So what is a business or executive coach, and what's the difference in that and a consultant, right? So where does that lay in with what you guys do?
Our definition of a coach is an unreasonable yet compassionate friend. We are here we're going to empathize. We're not going to sympathize, right? Two different things there. We'll have empathy for where you're at and all those kind of things. And yet we're here to be extremely unreasonable. And, Andy mentioned the system. We have 3,500 tools that we use with our clients and give them, and templates and all that kind of stuff. And so a coach ought to have a system that you can learn from, and then they hold you accountable to actually implementing the right stuff, right? I think it's fairly easy to say, especially here in Central Texas, you can't, swing a baseball bat without hitting 4 people that call themselves a coach. I won't get on that soapbox.
Is this water?
Right. And the biggest difference between a coach and a consultant is, in my opinion, one of my last businesses was a consulting firm. My opinion, the first 5-10% of being a consultant is coaching.
Mm-hmm.
You're guiding someone on what to do, best practices, that kind of stuff. The difference is a consultant then hires all the team to go do it for you.
Yep.
Right? A coach stops right there and says, "This is your business. We're holding you accountable to go do it." So that's the biggest difference, is we're not doing the work for clients. We're guiding them and then holding their feet to the fire and saying, it's like, this is your job. Go get it done with your team.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we were both consultants in a previous life before we both entered this. We did a lot of work for a lot of people, and that's just not it. It's just like I see you all the time with your kids and football coaching and all of this. How often would you like to run out in the field and show them exactly how to run the plays, right?
Well, I tried that. The cops got called. It was
referees throwing flags. Same thing for us. It's like we know the work that needs to be done,
mm-hmm.
and we don't tell people what to do. There's a consultant will tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Bankers, accountants, they tell people what to do. I know I do not like to be told what to do. Ask him. And he doesn't like to be told what to do either.
Yeah.
So by coaching, we're coaching them into making a decision that's good for them and their business. They make the decisions, they set the deadlines, they set the parameters, and they set the consequences. Not us.
Yeah, for sure. And when you hire a consultant, you're kind of stuck hiring a consultant forever.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coached on what to do, and then your team's the one implementing, you can go implement that in any number of businesses on your own, right? So, sometimes it's like in the mindset of an owner, like easier to hire a consultant, but then you're stuck paying them forever.
Yeah,
right?
Because they're the ones doing the work.
Because they're doing the work.
Yeah.
Exactly. You've never learned actually how to properly guide someone else to do it.
Whereas this process allows a business owner to make an educated decision for themselves on how they want to go.
Correct.
Yes. And we have one of our, we coach consultants and executive coaches and real estate coaches and athletic coaches. It's an interesting dynamic because, again, when you bring a consultant in, and, you know, sometimes they have I know mindsets. We just a little bit, but it's the shift, right? How do we help you get to where you want to go? You're not getting there your way. So should we try something else?
Yeah. Perfect. So let's dive into today's topic. What is the owner's matrix? Why should a business owner even care about it? What is it? What do we got?
It is a monumental leap for a lot of business owners. You and I have talked many times about different business owners, and part of the challenge for selling a business is getting an owner to stop doing everything. We've had that conversation too many times. So the owner's matrix is the owner's value of time in our world is the value of the business's time. As an owner, and easy math is if you're $1 million business in revenue and you have 2,000 hours, now every business owner that's watching this go, that's bullshit. Sorry, that's crap because, you know, they work more than 2,000.
Yeah.
But we believe, and our belief is you should only work 2,000 hours.
A year.
A year. Means you should have 80 hours.
Not a month.
Not a month. Yeah, not a month.
That I'm making note of
Make a note of that. Right.
Okay.
I've seen that before. We go for drinks on occasion, but we believe they should only work 40 hours a week and they should have 2 weeks vacation. So we build the matrix based on $1 million in revenue, 2,000 hours. Well, if you take $1 million and you divide it by 2,000, you come up with $500 an hour. Now, every business owner that we've ever spoke to argues, well, I don't make $500 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, you should because of capitalists. But they look at, they go, that's absurd. Well, let's talk about, and we together. So really quickly, I'll let you, what are the pillars in business? What are the 7 pillars in any organization? And then I'll bring it right back to this.
Okay. Marketing, sales, operations, team, finance, IT, and mindset. Every business has some level of all 7 of those showing up in their business.
And so as we build this out, we use the matrix. It's a 9x9 square. And we build a matrix out. We plug all of those in. And we start with the highest, which is the CEO, president, owner. And we put it in and we list things that CEOs should be doing. And a lot of them don't. I don't see myself as that. Well, okay, if you're the chief, finance and the CEO are usually one and the same. Well, are you planning? Are you planning for the business? What are the roles you're supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be motivating. You're supposed to be leading your team. You're supposed to be planning. You're supposed to be looking future. You're supposed to be looking at, if you're not the finance guy, you're supposed to look, what's break even? What does it look like? So there's a list of what should the CEO be doing? But what we find is all of those 7 pillars, the CEO wears every one of those hats every day.
Every single thing.
And what ends up happening is, well, how much does this position cost? Well, it's $20 an hour. Admin, okay, operation. Oh, then it's 30, and then it's 40, and then it just works its way up. And oh, you have an attorney. What is that? And you have a CPA. And what we do is we just divide it and we list the duties, not the person, the duties. And then it's a simple math equation. How much time in a week are you spending on the left-hand side of this chart versus the right-hand side? 70, 80, 60, the percentages. I spend a lot of time. Great. So if you spend 80% of a 40-hour week, okay, that's 30 hours, and you're doing a $30 an hour job.
Trying to make $1 million a year.
Yeah, trying to make $1 million a year, and then you're at $500 an hour. The math is 500 minus that number. And then it's like they look at us and they're like, what? How did you come up with that? It's like,
they want owners pay, but they're not doing owners work.
Yeah.
Right? They want owners pay, but they're doing the technician work in the business.
Great line. Great.
Right?
Yeah. Technician.
And if you haven't read the E-Myth, anyone who's watching this, you should be reading the E-Myth. But really, I mean, it's a shift in their mindset to go, oh yeah, no, there is actual owner work I need to be doing, and I'm stuck in the business nonstop. And it's not like this. I think there's a misnomer on the business versus in the business. It's not like you have to work on the business 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
It's like an hour or 2 a day. You dedicate an hour a day for the next 5 years, your business is in a very different spot 5 years from now, just by
absolutely
a little bit of focus.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we run into the most on the exit side, so we get calls all the time from someone going, I'm ready to sell my business and I'm ready to exit. And the biggest problem that we run into is we start asking them questions and it's like, oh, well, you're the one doing all the work. You are the business. So how does ActionCOACH, how does your team implement the owner's matrix? How do you guys actually get that owner out of the doing it all into the matrix and into the $1 million a year and working onto the $500 an hour tasks?
It's not easy. It sounds a lot easier than it is.
Yeah.
I have a big stick. It's a focus bat.
He actually has a bat that says focus on it.
I'll send you a picture.
Perfect.
It's, concentration risks in the business, right? And the owner tends to be one of the biggest ones because they have all the relationships with all the vendors. They're the one doing a lot of the work. All the customers know them. The relationships it's just so many problems there. So essentially what we have is a very structured methodology to get business owners out of that. And it takes about 4 basic steps to get them to where their business can scale and they're able to start taking steps out. And then there's another 1 or 2 steps to fully remove them from it. And depending on where they're at, that could take anywhere from 12 months to 5 years, right? Just depending on where they're at today and how well they're actually going to listen to coaching and implement things. There's a thing called pace.
Are you suggesting people don't listen?
No,
business owners they love listening to everything. No, it's the Marshall Goldsmith book, right? What got you here won't get you there, right? So they got a bunch of success, but they're still stuck in the business and they don't want to try different things. They're like, well, if you want to be able to sell your business, you have to be willing to do things a slightly different way.
Absolutely.
And that's the hardest lesson. The first thing, it was really interesting. You do things for a long time and you become unconscious and competent, and then you forget some of the basics. And a lot of owners live in that world because they just do. And the first thing that we do, because every coaching client, every person, I just don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I don't have any time. I've got no time. Okay. That is literally we overlaid this owner's matrix with a tool called the Skill Fund Matrix. And again, these are not painful physically, but mentally for an owner, this is a very painful task for them because they get into our own head. What did you call that? The itty bitty shitty committee on their shoulder?
Okay, it's right there.
He's got great lines like that, but it's reality. But they live in that. They give shame, guilt. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. And so we solve with them the time quandary, of where's my time going? And when you overlay these things, like, oh, I spend all this time doing this. Okay. Well, I can't afford that. That's $30,000 a year or 40 or 60 or 80. Okay. Wrong math.
Yeah.
We have to solve how many hours did it take you to master this? How long will it take you to train? And we have 60 to 90 days to get to a profitable standard with a salesperson, marketing, admin.
Any new hire, yeah.
We help them through that entire process and guide them through that process so they can see it's not $40,000 a year. It's I've got a few weeks. It's $1,600. It's $2,000 a pay period. Okay.
Do the test run.
How can we get through this? And we solve that because if we don't take things off their plate, or that's incorrect. If they don't take things off their plate, they will never have any more time to focus on a lot of the other challenges that are going on. Because when you look at a business, what are the 2 factors that you look at right off the bat, right?
Profitability and cash flow.
Exactly.
One and the same, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Same. Yeah, we're looking at time and money, right? Because if we're not able to guide them properly and they're not willing to listen to open up time on their calendar to do certain things, they're not going to be able to implement things, right? We had a client started with us, and his business within the first month or 2 of working with us, he lost some of his team. Ironically enough, it was actually to things out of his control. They were on reserves and stuff like that. So the Army was like, hey, we're picking you up and we're taking you. He's like, what do I do?
Oh man.
And it's one of those things where, because we had gone through step 1 was go through the time exercise, all of a sudden it was like, okay, wait, hold on. We've been working through this intentionally. Now all we got to do is we have to take what they were doing And now we need to add it, honestly, to probably your plate until you hire somebody else. Right. And he's like, well, how am I going to do that? Well, this is why we coach you through time mastery, right? People call it time management all the time. Like, you can't manage time. You can manage yourself, right? You can't actually, I can't pause time. I can't stop it, rewind it, slow it down.
You haven't figured that one out yet?
I wish I could.
Me too.
I'd have a couple more zeros on my bank account if I figured that out. No, but for real though, it's one of those things where it's like, you have to realize that you're just managing yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And to be able to get to where you can make the shifts in your business to have it increase cash flow and those type of things, you got to be willing to look at it differently.
And it is that step. It is that step. And it's so interesting with time and everybody. I don't care what pay grade you are, what size of business. I've heard for the last 30 years, and especially the last almost 14, my business is different.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing. Great. You be the expert in your business. We'll help you. We talk about it. For us, it's systemization, it's humanization. It's how do we move them through this process? Because if we can't solve time, and then of course then that's a trickle down theory, right? Well, none of my people do it right, and I have no time, and they're wasting my time, and I might as well do it myself, and nobody does it faster than me, and nobody does it better than me.
As a business owner, that's probably the hardest step to take from that step of, I got us to here.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's gotten that success, to someone else has to be able to duplicate what I do. Yeah. And it's a huge trust system, and it's a huge pull away from running my own companies of, I'm not the guy anymore, but I have to trust the team to do the stuff. Otherwise we never grow.
It's interesting. I had a call yesterday from a good friend of mine. Mentor, good friend of mine. He's built a massive business, but it's him.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking yesterday, and he signed his son up for a sales course, and now he's 51, and everything's in his head. And he's like, how are we going to get it out? And we just asked him, like, okay, we got to start. And again, we have a strict policy, not coaching your friends, but the conversation was just that of, what's your plan? I don't have a plan. Okay, if you did have a plan, what would it look like? That's why I'm on the phone with you, with some expletives in there with it. But it's one of those conversations where we all get to this point, that we have to finally stop and go, am I capable? Everybody's capable.
Mm-hmm.
When DMH and Tanner started talking about like these BHAG goals, like, $100 million business. And my mind was just like, I wanted to bury my head in the sand. I felt like all of our clients, right? I mean, that's a big goal, going from 10 to 20 to, you're like, whoa, that's 100x. But it's the shift, right? It's the 1% shifts every day that we do with the business owner to get them to see results rather than barriers. Because that itty bitty shitty committee he's talking about, everybody has their own pukers and doubters in their world. They're going to tell them that can't be done, or they're going to tell themselves they can't do it that way.
So as business owners begin to engage with you and truly make those shifts, what are some of the landmines that happen, or what are some of the issues that business owners run into when they actually start going through this owner's matrix and this process with you guys?
One is going to be mindset. Right? We kind of hit on that a little bit, which is some of the landmines they're going to fall on is I am the best one that's ever done it in the business. I mean, they have to realize that they're probably not going to hire someone the first time that's going to be as good as they are. Right? And learning like, okay, when I'm just starting to hire for the first time to replace me, do I have a management system? Right? Do I know how to hire someone to replace me? Chances are no.
Yeah.
Right? And you're going to fall a few times. I mean, from there to the misunderstanding of how many times you have to test and measure certain things in the business to get it right. And it's like, oh, I did it and it didn't work. Congratulations, that one version didn't work. Right? How many different versions might we need to go through until we test and find the one that actually does? Right? You get so many business owners that are just like, well, this thing's down. Right? Like profit's down. And actually, let me rephrase that. Revenue's down. I'm like, is profit up? Well, yeah, but revenue's down. I'm like, but profit's up. What does that tell you? Well, it means that but my revenue's down. Like, I don't care about your revenue right now. Your profit's up. What does that tell you? It means that we were doing things more efficiently. Yes, it does. Get out of the mindset of top line matters.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter until later on. Right now, you need profit. You need cash, right? How much are you saving? How much are you keeping to reinvest into the business? And they get so stuck on this top line number, and it's just like, y'all, that doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
Right? It just simply doesn't.
No.
You know, it's interesting, not to cut you guys off, but even when it comes to selling a business, we speak to so many business owners who are always like, well, I'm doing 5 million in top line sales. And I'm like, great. What's the profitability? No one cares. You know, a business doing 5 million at 98% profitability or, expenses versus a business doing 3 million at 50% profitability. Those are hugely different businesses, and that $3 million business is going to sell for more than the $5 million. So it's a huge.
Yeah, they don't. Society has warped people. I mean, like you just said, a 5 million
CPAs, but we'll edit that out.
But it is. Society has told them, well, I have $1 million business or a $5 million business, and I have a $4,985,000 expenses. Okay, congratulations, you're running a shitty business.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And we see that all the time.
You're doing a lot of work.
You're not working. Yeah, you're busy. You're not working smarter. What's the definition of busy? It's the new stupid in business. Doing more to have more is not a good business model. And that is a belief system. That is a mindset problem. That is look, again, we look at profitability. At the end of the day, at the balance sheet, we want that number to go up.
Yeah.
That if that number goes up, when it comes to you, you're like, sir, here's your multiplier.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I mean, one of our mentors puts it this way. He's like, working the 50, 60 hours a week used to be like, like a badge, like of honor, like, oh, look how much I'm working. And it's like, that just means that you are compensating for the mistakes in your business when you're working that hard, right? You're compensating for issues that you've allowed yourself to work through, or that, like you've just been like, I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, if you're the one doing it, you're stuck doing it forever until you decide to do something different, right?
Yeah.
And then you can't sell it. Or if they're going to sell it, they're going to have to stay on to run the business still. And now they're just working for somebody else.
Well, and the reality is when we roll into business, those businesses don't sell, right? So it's the industry has some crazy stats. Only 20% of businesses actually that go to market actually sell. And it's because so many people take businesses to market that are unsellable instead of saying no. And that's one of the biggest problems is the owner is still running the business. They're still the operator versus that. Investors buy cash flow. They want to cut a check and have a return on investment. And so creating a business that allows that to happen, that's how you truly exit. It's not creating a great product or a great idea. They're all great, but whoever can maximize it and make it profitable, those are the winners.
But they don't understand. And that's the hardest lesson. He talks about time mastery. I call it self-mastery. We all have different terms for it. They've been doing their business for so long that they don't realize that, well, they'll want me to stay on. They'll want me to run it. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
No. Because that means that now they have to pay you. And every time they want to implement change, you will fight it.
Yeah.
They want nothing, and they're so offended by that. Well, they want me. No, nobody wants you.
That's the other landmine, the I know attitude.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a huge landmine that we find. It goes back to kind of mindset a little bit, right? It's interesting. We have a system that's going to get them to have the business run without them with high profitability. Two factors that help them sell.
Yep.
The number one issue is the 6 inches between their ears. It's the number one issue, man. It's just like, which is why we do so much work on mindset with them, because
it's huge.
What's the phrase? You lead a
lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, exactly. It's that mind is that state of mind that has to shift for them to be successful.
No, it's interesting. So every time when we go to close a business, the buyer is always pushing for a longer transition period. I need 120 days. I need 6 months. And they start pushing, and we always tell the seller, and I laugh and I tell the seller, I go, don't worry about it. I don't care if they ask for 3 months or 6 months. They're going to kick you out in 3 weeks. And the seller just looks at me like, what do you mean? And I go, they're buying your business because they believe they can do it better. So you've done it your way. You've done it your way for 20 years. You're going to show them how. It takes a couple of weeks, no matter what the business is. And then they want you out of the way. I go, so don't worry about it. If we give them a 30-day transition, the rest of it's consulting, you're not going to see any of that consulting money. They want you out of the way. And so it is funny. Every time there's that transit, they call me up in 3 weeks, like, oh yeah, it lasted like 3-4 weeks. They want me out. We had an argument about how to do something. And I go, well, they own the business now, not you. So.
And that's funny. That is so, but it's such a unique, and I go back to even, one of my hot buttons that I always get into, and I have to curb it because it's not, none of these businesses are mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I've always done it.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to me. That I know mindset is a huge landmine.
So one of the things that you asked him to hit on earlier, you started taking over the interview. Is the 7 pillars, right? So let's dive back into those 7 pillars. Why are those 7 pillars important? You kind of highlighted it, but let's dive a little bit further into that. Why does that matter to a company or to a business owner that's trying to scale?
Nice. So marketing, sales, first 2, right? People got to know we exist, and they got to be interested in buying something that we're selling, right?
Yeah.
Product, service, whatever it might be. Fundamental 2 things, right? Then we get, so marketing, sales, and marketing, is interesting. A lot of, most marketing companies hate me, to be honest with you, because there's a difference between marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
Right? Advertising,
absolutely.
Brand awareness, get your, and I learned early on in my first business that failed. There were 2 people on this planet that cared about the name of my business, me and my mom. We were the only 2 people that actually cared. Everyone else cares about what I'm going to do for them, right? And so getting real marketing in place is the first step. From there, we're going to then focus on sales and conversion rates and all that kind of stuff, because now we got to be actually able to, now that they know it, we got to get them to say yes, right, and show value. From there, we're looking at internal operations, right? And this is where a lot of the systems kick in and whatnot. They say basic 80-20 rule, right? 80% of business can be systematized. 20% is humanized, right? And kind of touched on that earlier. So now we're going to focus on internal operations and making sure that we can actually have high customer service, because now that people are buying it, well, we got to actually make sure we can service them with what we're offering.
Yeah.
Marketing, sales, operations. Then we're going to get to team, right? Because oftentimes people don't start with a ton of capital. And so they're bootstrapping it a little bit. And now we got to focus on how to hire for the first time. And it's interesting. We've worked with people who have been, C-level executives at Fortune 100 companies. And and they're like, I've managed people, all day, every day. And then they open up their first business and they don't realize how different it is when it's yours.
Yeah.
Versus somebody else's. And all of a sudden,
love spending other people's money.
It's so easy to do that, right? And I'm like, you go back to mindset for a minute. You got to realize that this is not your baby. This is an asset. And this asset's job is to kick cash off so that way you get it and then eventually you sell it, right? And getting that shift to go, yeah, you need team because this is an asset. That's all it ever is, right? And you got to remove that emotional connection. Yes, you can be passionate about what you do and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of at some point, we're all going to exit our businesses. Either we choose to or life chooses for us, right?
Oh,
it's one of those 2 things.
Yeah.
So marketing, sales, operations, team, finance.
Yeah.
That is like literally in the fundamental mastery level of business. The first step of building a business, you got to know your numbers. And we talk all the time about how business is math and business is people. And the math should be the easy part, right? Math is math, has no emotions, right? Yeah. The people side is where we mess everything up. And so it's like you got to know your numbers. And step 1, you got to know what numbers to even look at.
Yeah.
Right? What's your cost to acquire a client, to buy one? What's your cost per lead? What's your break-even point? All the numbers. So yeah, marketing, sales, operation, team, finance. Then you get into IT, which every company has some level of IT, right? You have phones and computers. There's
always something.
Right. Some companies have more of it. This is where, and depending on the industry, you really got to start focusing on cybersecurity and stuff like that. A decade ago, cybersecurity was a thing, but it wasn't a prominent thing. Today, you can lose your ass if you don't have certain things secure in the right way. And so that's the IT wing. And then you get to mindset, right? And that's what kind of filters through all of it. We've touched on those things. You got to have every single one of these pillars of your business rock solid to be able to profitably grow one.
And you can't be in every one.
No, you can't. And across every industry, every industry has it. I don't care what, and people come out, well, how about mine? I'm like, okay, let's walk through that. It's really straightforward. When you start looking at businesses, we talk about the business chassis, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a Volkswagen Golf and you have an Audi R8. There's $100,000 difference between these two vehicles. They're built on the same car chassis, and business is the exact same, right? And so when you're looking to build your business, you just have to learn, well, what's the chassis it's actually sitting on? Because now I can adjust it however I need to.
So let's say a business owner engages with Action Coach, engages with you guys. What are some of the first things that they can expect to walk through, to change? Like what's week one look like of, hey, I want to scale, I want to grow. What does that actually look like when they engage with you guys?
Well, there's a process we take everybody back, but let's say we skip the front end of it. We go through our marketing, our sales stuff, and we land on a client. We have a very regimented first 6 weeks that we go through with a client.
For them to be successful.
And the first thing that we throw them is we need to know our team, our coaches, our admin. We need to know where their time's at. We have to know what they do every day. And yes, we've done it. I've seen his with his clients. He's seen mine. They send us the first week. It's like 27 pages of, so what? I don't think I slept last week. And it's crazy because the list is so big. And then you start looking at that, right? Then we go into alignment phase, right? Week 2 is once we start. Now this is a couple weeks, right? We start with time. They have to go through it. And money, right? Numbers. Where are you at? We're going through that with new clients right now. What's break even? Cost of goods, just like he went through that entire list. But then we move into usually the second and third week is we're going to align. What does the business align with your personal, if you have a partner, a life partner, whatever you want to call it, a wife, a significant other, maybe it's a business partner, maybe it's other key members.
Mm-hmm.
We go into the alignment phase of that because we need to make sure everybody's beating to the same drum. In many cases, that alignment is one of the times where they start seeing the gaps in their belief system or their communication system with others.
So it's a fairly prescribed first 6 weeks for them, because what we find is that most business owners have never had a coach, or they had a crappy one.
Yeah.
So it's almost like onboarding someone to your team when you hire them. You need to train them how to be successful. We're teaching them how to be successful with coaching. So that way, ideally, I mean, it's like quite literally, we have a guarantee around this. Within 17 weeks, they're getting an ROI on coaching. Like within 17 weeks, they're getting at least a 1x ROI on their coaching investment. On average, within a year, it's 3x. And within 2 years, it's roughly 10x. So not many places you can put your money and get a 10x ROI within a couple years, right? And so to get that though, the first week, the first month and a half have to be pretty solid so that way they can be successful.
Laying the foundation.
All of that. And so we start with time and money. So if someone's starting with us, they got to know like we're starting with time and money and the roadmap for you to be successful. And then it's just a matter of every quarter we're looking and creating their plan alongside of them.
Speaking of time and money, when that business owner is growing, what is the optimal time for a business to actually engage you guys, right? So when should a business owner go, I want to grow, I want to scale. I know the plan is to get to, the big, hairy, audacious goal. I want to get to 100 million, but when should they actually engage a business coach or you guys in general? Like what's that look like for optimal success rate?
So just for clarity, us combined, our company now has a 38.7 month retention with clients. 38 months. We're over 3 years. He's had clients for 6-7 years. I've had clients for 10 years, and they're scaling. Mm-hmm. So I want to just clarify that's
working.
It's working. Yeah, it works.
It works.
It does work.
We actually have a bunch of awards that say how we have like best client results across the globe with coaching, like specifically. Keep going.
Yeah, and so I always say yesterday. So it used to be when I first got into the business 15 years ago, if you needed a coach, you were in trouble.
It was already too late.
It was already too late. Now we have done triage. Mm-hmm. Okay, we did triage in COVID. We did triage in the building 11, 12. We did triage back then too.
Mm-hmm.
I say yesterday's the day. If you're thinking about growing your business, now is the time, because no matter what, if they've plateaued, right? Mm-hmm. if they're plateaued, they don't know where to go, they don't have a trusted advisor, and they're open mindset, right? They're open to be guided and collaborate with others to grow their business. And we always say, just like us, we believe in coaching. We have a coach. We hire him. He puts his he's our unreasonable friend with his foot in our ass on occasion, every month. But it's how we've continued to be able to scale because we have blind spots.
Yeah.
So I always say yesterday or tomorrow.
Yeah, and most business owners aren't ready for coaching, so they start with education, right? So most business owners start with us with the educational wing because they're just not ready for coaching. And then over, a couple months, they become ready for coaching. And to be honest with you, if you're looking to scale your business, you need a coach at least 3 years in advance. You need a coach at least 3 years before you're really ready to either scale or exit, minimum.
Yeah, because that's the time that allows us to do the alignment. If you're going to sell, because when they come to you, they want to sell, right?
Yeah.
When we get involved with it, they want it done now.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, how much
when they
cash?
come to us, they want it done now too.
When you send them to us, they still want it done now, but it's still a process of we need to look at all these areas. And it takes time. The one challenge that every business owner will face when coached by, it was really funny. One of the newer clients called me the hard one and Hartley the soft one. And I'm like, you have no idea. That's totally polar out.
Too early in the process.
Yeah. Come back to us in 6 months and let us know if you still like this.
Yeah, this does come. But it's that it's the process of getting them to understand we only go as fast as they go.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They do the work, they get the guarantee. They don't do the work, they get fired. We can't help them if we run blind. And that's a big part of it is the only way coaching works with business owners is 100% open and honest conversations. We work just like a CPA or an attorney. Everything you say is confidential. Everything you say, unless you tell somebody, is going to stay on these coaching calls. Mm-hmm. Yes. Does our team know? Yeah. Because guess what? I need input. We have a team of 4 very educated plus 1,200 coaches. I promise there is a coach in some business somewhere that has the same issues you have. We will help you solve it. But again, we're not genies. He can't just blink his eyes and have people just, this shit will go away tomorrow. Because every business owner that engages with us, when they start to shift for growth, one of their key employees, one of their partners, somebody in there will start challenging them on the what and the why because they are not in the coaching program. And that becomes a challenge for them to coach their team through changes, through growth, through, we're going to make these and this is what it's going to benefit everybody.
Mm-hmm. So I think we've hit a lot on why business owners really need the coaching and really need some help and the benefits of that. One of the ways that I came to know y'all was not through coaching through ourselves, but was in trying to help other businesses. So when it comes to other consultants or other business professionals, other exit planning people, what is the reason that they should be recommending you guys to their clients? So industry professional wise, right? So other M&A advisors out there, other business brokers, other whoever it might be, why should they be introducing Andy and Dr. Hartley an Action Coach to their clients?
The easiest answer there is if they don't have a system to coach people through, send them our way. And then that business becomes more successful for them to make more money, right? At the end of the day, you make money when the business actually sells. Yeah. And so for that to happen, you send them to us and we'll get it ready to sell and then we'll hand it back to you and go, sweet, now I can go make my money, right? Our profession is educating and coaching businesses to get to that point. And so if you don't have a system that's been around for 30 years like ours has, send them our way. And as I mentioned, we'll give them a complimentary session to start with to even see if we can add value. Like before we
make sure it's a fit.
Exactly. Yeah. Before we enroll anybody, we'll sit down with them for 1 to 2 hours and go through their numbers and go through their marketing and go through their business to outline, just to make sure we can, in fact, get them an ROI and get their business where it's at versus going, this isn't going to be a good fit.
So we've said ROI a lot and we've lightly talked about it, but like, what is a real ROI? What can a business owner actually expect if they engage you? What is a legit ROI for them to make the time and financial investment with you guys?
Bare minimum, it's 1-to-1. For every dollar they spend, they'll get $1 back. Bare minimum. That's that, and for people, that should be enough.
Mm-hmm.
But like DMH said, we document all this stuff. At the end of 1 year, we can document if they do the work and they follow the strategies, because the goals are theirs, right? If they come to us and go, I want to have all these goals, and then they don't do any work, we fire those clients.
Yep.
we just don't have time for them. We do not need the charity work, and usually it's everybody else's fault. If they do the work, we know in 1 year, our firm, 3X. We know
Bottom line.
So if they had $10,000 in profit this year, they could have $30,000 profit next year. I have a client right now that was a negative $140,000 because of some poor planning in July. Right now, they have $260,000 in their savings and bank account because we had to do a massive shift with people and other areas. Okay, that was a new client. It's just math is easy, people are hard. We got the math down, then we moved the people, and now production comes up. We know that math like the back of our hands. And there's a lot of times people come in, I want to talk about team, I want to talk about this. Great, numbers first. Well, nothing has changed. I don't want to talk numbers first. We don't care. Our process looks like numbers first. If we go through the numbers with them, when they start managing, just like we manage our business, we have numbers. He sends out a report every Monday. I know exactly where our business is at. Our finance people give that to us, but all of our clients, 3X return first year, 7 to 10 second year, documented.
It really is that straightforward.
That's huge.
And we could go through example after example after example. I mean, sitting with a client on Tuesday of this week, and their projected top line was to hit $1 million for the first time. They did that. Now, they thought that their margins were going to stay the same. And so they had a projected profit. I was looking at their numbers because they were freaking out about some things in their pipeline. And I was like, let's take a look at this for a moment. What has your profit done this year? Like cash, not just profit, but actual cash on hand, right?
Yeah.
It was 2.1x higher than they had forecasted.
Wow.
I'm like, and that's above forecast, right? So we'd already forecasted growth and what that was going to look like and their return on coaching. And then it was 2x higher than what they had actually forecast. And I'm like, can we stop freaking out for a moment, y'all?
Yeah.
Like, you're doing some really good things, right? So when we talk about ROI, like it's not like some fluffy thing that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
It's a legit.
It's not a marketing ROI.
Yeah, no. No. We're going to get t-shirts made that say, I apologize in advance. Yeah. The t-shirt's going to say, your bank account doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. Because it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't care. And it's just like, y'all, like, it's about the money at the end of the day. And if you're going to get an ROI from us, you have to be willing to do the work.
Yeah.
Right? And we can show you on paper the ROI you're going to get. It's really straightforward.
Cool. So, great conversation today, guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, if someone out there is watching and they say, it's time for me to scale, it's time for me to grow, what's the first steps? How do they get a hold of you guys? What does that look like?
Oh, we're both pointing each other.
ActionCOACHCentral.tx.com is the first place to go. We host a handful of complimentary workshops and stuff like that. So that's an easy way to see value without even needing to engage us just yet. And we have a dozen different resources that business owners can just jump on our website and download completely for free.
Nice.
A lot of them are like literally like Excel files and tools and templates that they can download and start using today in their business. That's a big thing. Like when we do our workshops, people leave and they're like, this wasn't just fluffy. It was like, I can actually like apply it tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, that's the point, right? If you're coming to us, you're going to start applying things immediately. So that's the first place to engage.
And along with that it's not us talking about it on that website. There are literally all different types of testimonial videos from past clients on this site too. They can tell you about it. And they're probably business owners that people know, right? The other way is they can call me directly, 641-420-8496, or Andy O'Brien at ActionCOACH.com. They can reach out. Myself, as you learn, Taylor will probably be redirecting, and she engages people. She's my secret weapon. Actually, I call her my save button a lot.
Yeah, full disclosure, I bypassed both of you and went straight to Taylor. I was like, I want Dr. Hartley and Andy in here, so I went to the masters.
Yes,
you come to us directly, we will mess that up.
Yeah, totally mess it up. Yeah. So yeah, they can get a hold of us that way. We always ask for people, go get social proof.
Yeah.
There are, like you said, there are thousands and thousands of people out there who claim to have a system and a process.
Mm-hmm.
We know ours work, and we have the people to prove it.
30 years with the system where, since Action Coach was really formatted, over 280,000 clients have gone through the system successfully. That alone should speak to the legitimacy of how we'll get somebody else to get their business working without them.
No, absolutely. So we'll wrap it up here. I just want to say thank you guys again for coming out. And then for those of you who know me, do want to give a testament to them. We've seen the process. We've sent clients. We've had them come back, be able to be sold. It's a great system. So if you enjoyed what you heard today and you want to keep the conversation going, be sure to connect with us on social media. You can find us on Twitter or X at The Expert Exchange, or visit the website, expertexchange.pro. That's expertexchange.pro. This and all video and podcast and audio will be available on there. And if you want more information, and if you want to go get those resources that they talked about today, you can find those with our expert guests. You can reach out to them at 641-420-8496, or again, online, those free resources, ActionCoachCentralTX.com. Again, that's ActionCoachCentralTX.com. So remember, success is a journey. We're thrilled to be a part of it, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Expert Exchange.
All content on this show is information of a general nature and does not address the circumstances of any particular individual or entity. Nothing in this show constitutes professional or financial advice, nor does any information on the show constitute a comprehensive or complete statement of the matters discussed or the law relating thereto. The Expert Exchange is not a fiduciary by virtue of any person's use of or access to this content. You alone assume the sole responsibility of evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of any information or content on the show before making any decisions based on such information. In exchange for using the content, you agree not to hold the Expert Exchange, its affiliates, or any third-party service provider liable for any possible claim for damages arising from any decision you make based on information or other content made available to you through the show. The Expert Exchange is not licensed to practice law or provide legal advice. Nothing contained within this show is intended to be an offer to either buy or sell securities.